I am Anna, and I am 29 years old. Today, when I speak about my past, my voice is calm. My heart feels softer now. The pain is still a part of me, but it no longer controls me. It sits quietly beside me, like an old memory. I have learned something important. Pain can change. It can slowly become understanding. It can slowly become peace. But my story did not begin with pain. It began with hope. Back then, my life was simple. I lived in a small apartment near my parents' house. I worked at a tiny bookstore on the corner of a quiet street. The days were peaceful. The air always smelled like tea and paper and soft rain. Life was not exciting, but it was kind. My parents taught me that love means loyalty. That family means standing together. That marriage is forever. So I grew up believing in forever. I thought love was something safe, something warm, something you could trust with your whole heart. I dreamed of a small wedding, a cozy home, and quiet evenings full of laughter. I did not want luxury. I only wanted love. And then I met Daniel. He did not enter my life like a storm. He came gently like morning sunlight. He had a warm smile and soft eyes. When he spoke, he listened. When I laughed, he laughed with me. There was nothing dramatic or loud about our love. It felt calm, natural, easy. With him, I felt seen. With him, I felt safe. We walked together through parks. We cooked together in tiny kitchens. We shared stories about our childhood. We talked about the future like it was already written, and we were just waiting to live it. For the first time, I thought, this is home. Our love was quiet, but it was deep, and slowly, forever did not feel like a dream anymore. It felt real, close, soon. So when he asked me to marry him, I cried with happiness. I said yes with my whole heart. My family was overjoyed. My mother helped me choose my dress. My father smiled more than usual. My friends said I was glowing, and maybe I was. The months before the wedding felt like a soft movie. I imagined walking down the aisle. I imagined saying vows with a trembling voice. I imagined a life full of warmth. Every night before I slept, I whispered thank you into the quiet room. I trusted him completely. I trusted love completely. But slowly, very slowly, something began to change. At first, it was small, a short message instead of a long one. A tired voice on the phone. Alachi reply, a distracted smile. He said he was busy, work, stress, life, and I believed him. Because when you love someone, you want to believe them. You want the story in your heart to stay beautiful. So I closed my eyes to the signs. I told myself everything was fine, that I was just nervous, that weddings are stressful for everyone. I chose trust. I chose hope. I chose love. And then the day arrived. My wedding day. The morning was quiet and bright. My dress hung by the window. My mother fixed my hair with careful hands. My heart beat fast, but it was a happy beat. I told myself this is the beginning, but I did not know it was the end. When I arrived at the ceremony, people were smiling. Flowers were everywhere. My hands were shaking, but my heart was full. I waited for him. I waited for Daniel, the man I loved, the man I trusted, the man I believed would choose me forever. Time moved slowly, then slower, then almost stopped. Guests began whispering. Eyes moved toward doors that did not open. Phones appeared. Faces changed. My heart felt heavy, but I kept smiling. Because I still believed in him. I still believed in us. Until the truth arrived, he was not coming. He had chosen another woman. He had already left. There were no loud scenes, no shouting, no dramatic movie moment. Only silence. Only a slow, painful breaking inside my chest. It felt unreal, like I was standing outside my own life, watching it fall apart. The world around me continued moving, but I was not crying. Not yet. My face was calm, but my heart was numb. My family held my hands. People spoke soft words. I heard nothing clearly. Their voices sounded far away, like echoes underwater. I felt invisible inside my own story. The wedding decorations looked like they belonged to someone else now. The flowers, the chairs, the music, all of it felt wrong, empty, broken, just like the future I had imagined. And in that moment, one truth wrapped around me like cold wind. I had been left. I had trusted love, and love had walked away. I stood there quietly. New tears, new anger, just silence and unanswered questions. How do you lose a future in one moment? How do you hold a heart that suddenly feels too heavy to carry? I did not know. All I knew was this. The girl who believed in forever was gone, and the woman left behind would never be the same again. That was the day my story changed. That was the day everything broke. And that was only the beginning. After the wedding day, time became strange. Some hours felt like heavy stones. Some days disappeared like smoke. I woke up and forgot for a moment. Then I remembered, and the remembering hurt more than anything. In the first few days, I did not feel like myself. I felt like a broken shadow of the woman I used to be. I stayed in my room at my parents' house. My wedding dress hung in the corner, still clean, still waiting for a day that never came. I could not look at it for long. When I did, my chest felt tight, like there was not enough air in the world. I did not sleep well. I did not eat much. Food tasted like nothing. Every thought in my mind turned into the same silent question. What is wrong with me? I replayed everything, every message, every smile, every small moment. I wondered if I laughed too loud, if I was not pretty enough, if I cared too much, if I trusted too quickly. I thought maybe if I was different, he would have stayed. The sadness inside me was not loud. It was quiet, heavy, and deep. It sat in my chest like a stone. I cried sometimes, but even my tears felt tired. At night, I stared at the ceiling and asked the dark room, why was I not enough? The room never answered. Facing the world was even harder. People knew. News travels fast. Some were kind. Some were curious. Some were hungry for details. Like my pain was a story they could enjoy for a moment and then forget. I was not angry at them. I was just tired. Whenever I stepped outside, I felt the weight of eyes on me. I imagined their thoughts. Oh, she's the one whose groom ran away. She must feel so ashamed. Poor girl. The shame became heavier than the sadness. I began to avoid mirrors. When I did see my reflection, I did not recognize the woman in the glass. Her eyes looked empty. Her shoulders were low and small. She looked like she did not belong in her own life. I avoided crowded places. I took quiet streets. I pulled my jacket tighter around me, as if it could hide my heart from the world. I wanted to be invisible, because in my mind, I was not Anna anymore. I was the girl who was left, and I hated that. But even in dark rooms, small lights can still appear. My parents did not leave me alone. They did not say big, complicated words. They did not try to fix everything. They just stayed close. My mother sat on the edge of my bed and stroked my hair like she did when I was a child. She reminded me to eat. She reminded me to drink water. Sometimes she just sat there in silence, and that silence felt kinder than any speech. My father, who was not very emotional, began to make small jokes again. Not to make fun of my pain, but to remind me that life still had little pieces of light inside it. He told me I was strong, even when I felt weaker than I had ever felt before. One evening, a close friend came to visit me. She did not ask for details. She did not ask what happened exactly. She only said, I'm here. You don't have to talk if you don't want to, but you are not alone. Those words stayed with me. I realized something slowly. Even if one person chose to leave, there were still people who were choosing to stay. People who loved me without a wedding dress, without a perfect story, without conditions. In my darkest days, their love became little lights on the floor, showing me where to place my feet next. As the weeks passed, my mind started to ask different questions. At first, I only asked, why did he leave me? But later, I began to ask, why did I think his choice defined my value? I started to see small truths I could not see before. Yes, he left. Yes, he chose another woman. Yes, he broke his promise. But that did not mean I was unlovable. It did not mean I was broken beyond repair. His betrayal said more about him than about me. If love is real, it should walk with honesty. If someone truly wants to stay, they do not secretly plan to leave. If a person can stand in front of you and talk about forever while holding someone else's hand in their heart, that is not love. That is a lie wearing a beautiful suit. One night, as I sat alone in the living room, I whispered to myself, maybe losing him meant losing a life built on lies. Maybe this is not the end of my story. Maybe this is the ending of the wrong story and the beginning of the right one. The thought was small, but it felt powerful. For the first time, I did not only see myself as a victim, I saw myself as someone who escaped a life with a man who did not know how to be honest. Yes, his choice hurt me. But maybe one day, I would see it as protection too. I deserved more than half-hearted love. I deserved more than broken promises. I deserved respect. And that truth began to grow inside me like a new seed. Healing did not arrive all at once. It did not show up one morning with bright music and a clean heart. Healing was slow. Healing was small. Healing was sometimes invisible. It began with simple things. I started to go for short walks again. At first, just to the corner shop, then to the park. I listened to the sound of birds, cars, people talking. I watched children run and fall and stand up again without thinking twice. The world was still moving. Somehow, that gave me courage to move to. I made a new routine. I woke up, opened the window, and let the air touch my face. I drank water. I ate breakfast. Even when I did not feel hungry, I went back to the bookstore 1 or 2 days a week. The smell of paper felt like an old friend. Some days I felt okay. Some days the pain returned like a wave. But slowly, the wave became softer. I still thought about him, but my thoughts were different. Before, my thoughts were full of questions like, why wasn't I enough? Now they slowly changed into thoughts like, why did I think he was the only one who could love me? The pain did not disappear. It simply changed shape. It became lighter, easier to carry. It became a scar, not an open wound. Forgiveness came much later. For a long time, I thought forgiving him meant saying it was okay, but it was not okay. What he did was cruel. What he did left marks. Then I learned something important. Forgiveness is not saying you did nothing wrong. Forgiveness is saying, I will not let what you did control my heart forever. I did not forgive him to make him feel better. I forgave him to free myself. One quiet evening, I sat on my bed, closed my eyes, and imagined him standing in front of me. I did not speak out loud, but in my heart, I said, you hurt me. You broke my trust. You changed my life. But you do not get to hold my future. I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. In that moment, I felt something release inside me. Not completely, not perfectly, but enough. Enough to breathe more deeply. Enough to sleep a little easier that night. It did not mean I forgot. It meant I chose peace over anger. With time, I began to feel whole again, not like before. Not like the girl who believed that love was always safe, but like a new version of myself, softer in some ways, stronger in others. I no longer waited for him to come back. I no longer imagined him standing at my door with flowers and apologies. Instead, I imagined myself walking forward with or without anyone by my side. I trusted myself more. I trusted my own eyes, my own feelings, my own voice. I understood that my worth did not come from being chosen by someone else. It came from the simple fact that I exist, that I care, that I love honestly, that I stand back up after falling. My heart became calmer. Not empty, not hard, just calm. There are still days when the memory returns. Sometimes a song, a smell, or a place reminds me of what happened. But now, when the memory comes, I do not break. I breathe. I say to myself, that was a chapter, not the whole book. So now, when I speak to you, to anyone listening to my story, I speak with gentle honesty. If you have been left, if your heart has been broken, if you feel like you were not enough, please hear this. You are not the mistake. You are not the rejection. You are not the promise someone else failed to keep. You are more than their choice. You are more than their betrayal. Your value lives inside you, not inside their hands. One day, you will wake up and notice something small but powerful. You are breathing easier. You are walking stronger. You are smiling again, not because the past was good, but because you survived it. When I look back now, I do not only see the girl who was left at the altar, I see the woman who learned to stand again. I thank my past for its lessons. I thank my pain for shaping my strength. I thank myself for not giving up. My story did not end on that wedding day. It began again, and maybe, just maybe, yours can too.